Hi, and welcome back. David Bianco with you here. The MOFI controversy. Well, I'm not going to get into that. Been some great interviews, including one with Michael Fremer with Steve Westman on Friday, and then Sunday with Michael Ludwig. So we've got a lot of information. We know now that MOFI's invited Mike Esposito of the In Groove in Phoenix to come in tomorrow, Tuesday, and to have an interview and a discussion on Thriller and what the processing is of that, if any digital's involved. What I do want to talk about is looking at the process that could be used that we might be concerned about and whether we really should be. And isn't the sound really what's important at the end of the day? That's next on the Sound of Safe and Sound, Texas. Hello and welcome back. So for me, when it comes to the situation, one of the things that matters most is truth, transparency, getting the actual situation on the table. Now, this is about Michael Jackson's Thriller, because specifically I think that raised the question initially because of the 40,000 copies. For me, it goes beyond that in the sense that they've released other records, are going to be releasing other records. Will they be equally transparent? And is this an issue of one particular product coming out being Thriller and how it's being handled, or will there become more of an openness about every release that they have and maybe every release of the past? That's number one. Number two, does it really matter? In other words, what happens? So analog tapes, we need to talk about analog tapes and tapes in general. My IT background tells me that tapes wear. They have issues. They can break. They're fragile, and the oxidization process is involved, so they don't last forever. It's very difficult to maintain tapes, and there are other storage mediums because that's all tape is a storage medium. There are other ones out there in the world that are used much more reliably in today's world. So that is one of the things I think we must come to an understanding about, is that tape has a risk to it. Now, digital transfer. Okay, digital transfer is a lot better today than it ever was when it started in the 80s. A lot of oversampling at really large rates, error correction. I mean, really, really strong capabilities in that field now. And so the question becomes one of what I call data retention. When we are in IT, we talk about data retention, the ability to retain data for long periods of time, and what capabilities can do that. I mean, at one time, you start to put it on even CDs, and CDs can have wear and pock marks, and the coating can go bad on you, and they can be non-usable at some point. So the medium is extremely important, how you store things, how you back them up. I think we really need to start thinking about music. In this case, there is a data element to it. And to that end, we have to recognize that the analog tape has a lifespan. It has a shelf life. And so the question is, what do we do? Well, any smart person who has a valuable product wants to make sure it's kept and retained and cherished and put in a safe or whatever it is. We had the big fire that occurred with Universal, right? Oh, you see what happens, okay? So the point of the matter is these are the realities. And so the question is, how do we go forward? As I said in my original video, this is about transparency. It isn't about telling MOFI what to do. It isn't about telling Sony what's good or bad. It's about transparency. I'm not sure how this is going to end up when Mike Esposito goes out to MOFI tomorrow and he has his interview with him. I don't know what's going to happen, but what I do know is there, in some point in time, there's going to have to be a reckoning to this issue of digital versus analog and the fact that tape has a life to it. And so for me, I would just like my listeners, subscribers, people who are hearing this, just to step back for a minute and think about it, because it's really easy to get wrapped up in this and really kind of go crazy. And I've had to do some reflection. This was a difficult thing to do for me in the first place, and I've taken some heat for it. And I really do. I honestly feel bad that it's happened. But at the end of the day, I stepped back and I said, let me think about this as I would as an IT manager, as I was for 30 years. I know what's going on here. I know there's this aspect of it. And the purists, I think, are going to have to think about, well, what would you rather have? A tape lost, gone, doesn't sound good. What do you do? Now I don't have a backup to it. I don't have in production copies, that came up, they're going to use a production copy. Well, that's what's made to use the album in the first place, right? You can't go back to the multi-track in a lot of cases. So you've got to go to something that was the stereo output that came out of the mixing that was done originally. That's often what has to happen. So I think in that regard, we need to kind of cool our jets a bit and really step back a bit and think about it and get some perspective on it. I think that's really, really critical. And that's what I'm trying to do right now as well. So I'll sit back, relax, listen to what MoFi has to say to Mike. I hope Mike will ask some really good questions and not just let a PR dump go on him. I really hope that that's done, because I do want to know, what are they going to do about the past and telling us? What are they going to do about the future? And it is, again, it's not about making the decisions for them. It's about being informed on the decisions. So that's my take on it. Thanks for watching as always. If you would subscribe to the channel, I really would appreciate it. It helps a lot. If you like this video, please press the like button. And again, if you have any comments, please leave them below and I will get back to you. So for now, thanks for watching The Sound of Safe and Sound Texas. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.